Hello there, Izzy at Digital Goja. Today I'd like to go over a frequently asked question about the Olympus TG-4. If this video helps you, remember to hit me up with a like underneath. And if you have any comments, put them in the comments section below. And don't forget, if you're ever in Miami, come visit Digital Goja showrooms. All right, so let's take a look and see what all these dials, knobs, buttons, all these things do on your Olympus TG-4. First, right on the top, notice that you have an L and a right. Those are left and right microphones for stereo recording right on your TG-4. And notice on the top here, you have your Wi-Fi and GPS module. This is what allows you to coordinate and geotag your images, plus be able to download and control your camera with the Olympus OIS Share app. Of course, your on-off button, that's your shutter button, and here is your zoom to allow you to zoom back and forth on your subject matter. Turning it on the side, here is where you will connect your strap. They do provide you a very stylish one that fits through here for the wrist strap, and you have other aftermarket options. Now we go underneath. Here is our 1/4-20 thread, and notice here's all our nomenclature with serial numbers and whatnot. Plus, this is your battery and your memory card compartment. And notice how it's a two-way lock to not have it open by accident. Here's where your memory card will go, and this is where your lithium Li92B battery will hook up. And again, to seal it, you do the opposite, and that seals it back up. Now on this side, we have yet another port, and you do the same thing so that it's not open by accident. On the bottom, you have your micro HDMI and your proprietary, this is actually your USB connector, which is provided for downloading and also for charging your battery. To close it back up, again, do the reverse, and then we're back to the top again. All right, so now let's take a closer look at what all the controls in the back of the Olympus TG-4 do. First one on the upper right, this is your red button for recording. You press it once and it starts recording video. Press it again, stops recording. Then right below it, this is our control dial. So default is of course intelligent auto. The camera does absolutely everything for you. It gives you your aperture, your shutter speed, everything. It even picks a particular scene mode depending on the shooting situation and environment. Next one up is program, where functions can be changed manually, but the camera still does the more automatic settings of aperture and shutter speed. Next one up is you have aperture priority. So this allows you to control your depth of field a little bit. So now when you have it set to A, you now move the toggle wheel over and notice how that activates the capability of changing the f-stop. You only have 3, but hey, this is again a point and shoot. So you have f2, 2.8, and f8.0. Next up, custom menu 1, which is awesome because now instead of having to reset this every single time, you can do different particular settings. You can have your flash set to auto, exposure compensation, change your white balance maybe over to a particular custom setting. All this will now be saved in this particular custom setting. So you have custom setting 1. Here you go, you have a second one, so you can now have a whole new set of presets set up for custom setting 2. Then you have your underwater, and now this opens up a completely different menu. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the next mode. This is the microscope, which is basically a super macro. Like I showed you in previous sections, that this is a tremendous magnifying mode. I mean, notice here. I mean, I can literally zoom in and wow, I can almost take DNA of whatever I'm photographing or recording, because remember, you can use it for video also. Then we're now going to go into the scene mode. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very important mode because this is where you're going to tell the camera what you want it to do. If you leave it on intelligent auto, you are expecting the camera to figure out what you need to do, and it's going to make it much more difficult. So in this mode, in the scene mode, this is where you're going to make the decision on what imaging you want to do, and the camera's going to help you out because it's going to do all the settings for you. Here's a perfect example for taking a portrait style shot. Notice how the camera will now focus on the subject and blur out the background. You want to do that. You don't want to let the camera try to figure out that that's what you want. It even has an e-portrait mode, which basically does a little bit of post-production work on the skin, so it allows it to look nice and smooth even when you're viewing it on a high definition TV. Again, the camera doesn't really know you want this, so you have to pretty much tell it, and then it'll do all the settings for you. Landscape. This is fantastic because the camera is basically setting your depth of field so that everything is in focus. And again, as you can see, you're working on a bright sunny day, and this is where best for landscape shooting works. You have interval shooting. This is where you can be really specific and do time-lapse movies and photography. Live composition. This is where you can do star trails and nighttime shooting. Again, a tripod is recommended, and you'll actually be able to see the image being created before your eyes on the screen, but you have to tell the camera you need that mode. Handheld, perfect for trying to shoot an example there, a night skyline, but you want to be able to work with the camera in hand as opposed to setting it on a tripod or on a steady surface. Night scene, doing the same thing, but now the camera is going to pick a slower shutter speed. Instead of you having to set it yourself, now you remember you have to set it on a steady surface or on a tripod. This is for shooting night portrait where your background is illuminated. So you have a beautiful, I don't know, for example, starlit area in the back, or you're in an amusement park, or something that you want the lighting in the background to come into focus, and you also want the subject matter, your portrait, to be properly exposed. So the camera will also use the flash that's incorporated. Sport mode, very important. The sport mode is where the camera now picks a faster shutter speed and moves to continuous shooting so you can capture fast moving subject matter. Again, brightly lit situation, usually outdoors, or even if you're in an arena with tremendous amount of light, so that the camera can work with the faster shutter speed. Indoor shooting, this is again so that your subject and the background is in focus when you're doing interior photography. Self-portrait, very important in today's world. Since the camera doesn't have a flip screen, you hold the camera at arm's length and it will actually focus, turn to face detection, and guarantee to get a shot. Whether it's an individual or a couple, it does that for you automatically, but you do have to set it. Sunset shots, very important. A lot of times some of us want to capture this and we have issues trying to set the white balance and also how to set the camera in general. Here, the camera does it for you. Switch it to sunset and you'll get beautiful sunset shots. Fireworks, yet another situation which becomes very popular during the time that these are available. A lot of times customers have issues where, what do I set my ISO? What do I do with my shutter speed? Well, here what you do is, again, set the camera to fireworks mode, place it on a tripod, boom, you're set to go. Cuisine, food photography. This is important because a lot of us like to vlog and post stuff on social media. So with this one, it's going to allow you to switch to close-up photography mode, i.e. like macro, and give you nice vivid colors. Documents. This is incredible. This is a way that you can take an image. If you don't have access to a scanner or a copier instantly, you can do the same thing with a document, and it even allows you to put a verbal attachment to it, so it has a built-in microphone that allows you to record up to 4 seconds per still image. This is a very handy feature. Beach and snow, again, here we have it where the camera is being told my subject is in an incredibly reflective, bright background. I want to make sure that it exposes for the subject matter and not for the sand or the snow, where your subject matter comes out as a dark shadow. Snow only, this is if you're in that kind of situation, it does the same thing, and notice how it gets rid of shadows because it'll also bring in the flash to fill in for highlights. Panoramic shot, this is fantastic. As I showed previously, this allows you to do very easy panoramic photography in camera without having to do post-production work. And one of the more popular modes in today's digital cameras, even in the SLRs, is your HDR mode. It gives you an image which gives you optimal brightness. Even though your subject matter might have harsh shadows or darker areas, it's going to combine images to give you one perfectly exposed shot. All right, so now let's go over to the info mode. So I set this on program, And notice when I hit info, now you can actually tell the camera how much information you want displayed on your screen. Whether you want a histogram, you want a graph chart, or nothing at all. So the more you press the info, it gives you information. This one actually brings up your GPS capabilities, where it shows you barometer, latitude, longitude, and even altitude and water depth if you have that so activated. And then again, back to the standard info mode. Of course, your playback button, this is the one that allows you to play back all your images. Oh, look at that, I look asleep there. And these show you whether you have movies or stills. That is all captured, and you have the capability of playing it and stopping it. Now let's go over to our command wheel. This is where you have most control to do different settings. So notice how when I hit on the up here, I have for exposure compensation, so I can tell the camera to compensate by how many stops, whether over or under exposing. This allows you to do a little bit more tweaking, even though you're still in the program mode. Now if I move this way, I hit OK to lock it in place. Now I have access to my flash. So notice how I can override my flash capability, whether I want to switch it to auto, red eye, even to compensate with the LED. There's all your fill-in, all your flash compensation features. Now, pressing down here, now we have access to our drive mode, where you can choose single, shoot continuous in bursts. You can shoot high-speed sequential. And again, the image quality does change depending on how fast the burst rate. This is even the highest speed possible, which is at over 10 frames per second. And here you have your self-timer mode. Now, when you hit the menu, now I can actually change the amount of images that it's going to do in the custom self-timer mode. I can go up to 10 images, and I can do it at different intervals, anywhere from 3 seconds to 1 second. And then this one here is the one that allows you to change up and down in all your different settings. So as you scroll to the left, that allows you to change that. Now that we finished with the toggle wheel, the one on the bottom left, this is your menu button. And this is the one that allows you to go into all your different menu settings on the camera. Remember, this is where all your settings can be changed to customize whatever you want your TG-4 to do. And last but not least is whenever you're in playback mode, let's say for example, I'm going to use the playback mode now, and I need to delete something. All I do is get to the frame that I want to delete, and then notice how it shows you the blue icon for the trash. Move it down, and it'll actually ask you, do you want to erase it? Scroll up, hit OK, boom, gone. So there you have it. These are all the rear controls for your Olympus Stylus TG-4. Well, I hope I answered your question about the Olympus TG-4. If I didn't, please place it below in the comments section and I'll get to it and answer it for you. And also, don't forget to share this video with fellow videographers and photographers. Happy shooting!